Brian, stop the tape.
Okay, Mike. Oh, wait. Rewind that scene, please.
Rewind that scene.
Rewind that scene.
Rewind that scene.
Rewind that scene. Rewind that scene.
I'm Mike Rizzo.
I'm Brian Bonds.
And this is the Rewind That Scene podcast. Me and Baby Bon Bon over here, where we go back in time and rewind and watch our favorite movies from the 80s, 90s, 2000s, and Oblivion.
Yeah, if it's the first time you're listening, thanks. Great. Thanks for checking in. And if this returning, welcome back. It's
Casey
great to
Kasem.
see you. Yeah. Man, we are going to get down with the 1994 steamy thriller tension disclosure. Oh, man, this movie packs the heat, right, Riz?
Yeah, it packs the heat so much when you see Demi Moore. You know how they introduced her in the 90s? By showing her sick thighs.
Oh, my God.
That's how they introduced women back then, dude. But this is a different kind of movie because this was the first type of movie that showed women who are in power can abuse their power by sexually assaulting a male.
That was good.
Yeah. And it just so happened to be during the time of the O.J. Simpson trial, which we both were glued to the TVs.
Yeah, it's true. It's really steamy, this one. A lot of movies like this in this time era was very steamy. Really great cast. I feel there was
Demi Moore, Michael Douglas, Donald Sutherland.
Oh, man, rest in peace.
Who's the little creep guy that you like?
Oh, Dennis Miller was a real, kind of Herbie-looking, schwarmy dude. That scene
also,
at the
just so you guys know, we love Herbie, schwarmy-looking guys.
Herbie, schwarmy boys.
This movie, I think, was kind of a movie that we were like, whoa, they're showing like pretty intimate sex scenes in the 90s.
Yeah.
Demi Moore like essentially demands a blowjob. She was like, give me your dick, you're gonna fuck me now, right? Like shit like that. Like we're like, okay.
It's wild. You got CD-ROMs up in the mix.
You got all these like old computer graphics. They're like a computer company who is trying to do like VR where we are now with Meta and headsets. This was back in the 90s, so the graphics are shit. It's great.
Yeah.
And we have the very talented Roma Maffia on the show.
Straight from New York.
Who played Catherine Alvarez, the lawyer who sides with Michael Douglas to either press charges or do the mediation. And she was also in Nick of Time, who was Christopher Walken's partner. And we just had John Badham, the director, on our previous episode. So check that out. She talks about that a little bit. But yeah, I think Catherine Alvarez, played by Roma, just always kind of had a like a presence, like a real fucking alpha female, dark, sinister, kind of like this fucking cunty vibe.
This person's been through some stuff in the workforce and is a hot shot and tough ass.
Yeah, so we kind of latch on to that. Yeah, so we got some questions for her, Roma.
We wanted to talk about disclosure.
Sure.
You have such a great line of work. I mean, from the television stuff you've done everywhere. I mean, the films. We just did an interview with the director from Nick of Time, and
John Badham.
Yeah.
I love John Badham.
Yeah. That was our last episode. He loves you too.
Oh, he was.
Yeah.
He's such a gentleman that we stopped in the afternoon in time.
Oh.
It was a very civilized schedule.
Wow.
Yeah. He was mentioning that.
Was he?
Well, he said because they used multiple cameras, so it was a little faster than usual.
Yeah. And he's just a gentleman. So it was sort of like it felt like part of his protocol.
Right, right.
Yeah. Really lovely man.
So
You know what I love best about him? He told me a story where we were talking about Saturday Night Fever. Did he tell you about, he was going to direct it. It wasn't until a little bit before he realized it was a musical.
Oh, he didn't get into that with us. So this is good.
Which was so interesting. It's probably best he didn't, and he doesn't come from that world. So, but it worked out well.
Yeah.
That's a staple, that one.
Oh my God.
Also because
we're
from
film.
Bay Ridge, and it was a Bay Ridge movie, so it was like kind of insane.
In your blood.
Yeah.
That's so
He's eating the 2 slices of Bobo.
Yeah, exactly.
So funny.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah. We really do love how just sort of evil you are too in Nick of Time as
Yeah.
well. I think your character
He's so great.
gives us great energy. I mean, we really thrive and loved growing up on these films. So what was that chemistry like with Christopher Walken?
It was great, but I'll tell you, the one who had the best chemistry with him was the little girl. Because they would just hang out and he would dance or sing. And she was a very smart little girl, but she'd always check to make sure either Roma came back after a scene, it was Roma or it was Christopher. So it was interesting. And he was just great.
That's
He was
awesome.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fun.
That's a fun film. It's a good one and exciting. And I love those sort of thrillers, sort of action pieces. They're really just so exciting. You always kind of yearn for those types of movies these days now, since they're
Definitely.
They're
so.
like old fashioned, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing like it
Yeah.
anymore. You know what I
I
mean?
wanna
Like that's
feel-
so you really
Yeah.
feel it, like it's
I want to
the
be on
tension's there.
ease.
Yeah.
it's
Uneasy.
true.
Uneasy.
I went to see Conclave. Have you seen Conclave?
No.
Mm-mm.
That is with Ray Fiennes, and it's about the Pope dying within the Vatican. It's sort of, when I was watching it, I thought, this feels almost like an old movie.
Ooh.
Nice.
Very interesting to watch the inner workings of that world with these incredible actors. Yeah, you might want to check that out.
All right, we will.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
And with that sort of energy, I feel you bring a completely different other force in Disclosure. I mean, just even like the first scene with like Michael Douglas and the way you're introduced.
Oh
You're
my
so
God.
tough. It's no
Right.
bullshit.
Yeah, your
you
presence is like so known and like, he has the high profile lawyer.
Yeah.
So funny. Yeah.
So like, what was it like? Can you like walk us through a little bit of that, like how you got into the scene and like what was it like working with him? And
Well, it was my third film, Smithereens, the paper, and then this. It was really, it introduced me to a whole nother world. It was it was Hollywood.
yeah,
It was like Hollywood. It was very different than being in the trenches where I had been for so many years. So for me, that was very interesting. You know what? I'm going to put you right here. Can I put you? I love this. I get
yeah.
like, you're like my toy men.
I feel like we're like in MTV
You were different
Cribs.
places.
I love this. This is a
Yeah.
good vibe. We never
Yeah.
had someone give us a tour of the house.
Can I be gone for 2 minutes?
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead. No worries about
do,
it.
I need
do your
tickets
thing.
too.
So the best moment for me was when you kind of schooled Michael Douglas on like what was about to happen in that scene.
Yeah.
You know, when he first hires you as the lawyer.
Yes.
It's amazing. Like
Sexual
he's-
harassment is not about sex.
exactly.
I made my niece learn that text. They can say it to this day.
What were like some of like hey, how was it working with Michael Douglas? Like what was like the
Fantastic.
yeah.
It was fantastic. He introduced me to his father, which I took as the biggest compliment.
Mm.
His father was there, and he gave me a beautiful keychain at the end, and he was just so helpful as far as filming, having me slow down, having me this, having me that. It was really, really a special, the whole thing. Barry was great. Everybody was really great.
I also love like the mediation scene when you get the tapes for the first time when you
Yes.
play the tape.
Yes.
Oh, it's so
That
like
was,
everyone. Oh, it's so good.
it was so good.
Yeah. You going up against Demi Moore, like, holy crap. What was that
Yeah,
like?
baby. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. You know, it was so great because it was at the time of OJ trial. It
Oh,
was
Gotcha.
exactly
There
the
we go.
same time. So we'd all go into our own trailers, and I was looking at that lawyer, and we'd all go in, and then we'd have these big discussions about, because it was one of the first movies, if not the first movie, which was controversial because it was a man being exploited.
yeah.
So there was a lot of fire behind it because it was like, OJ is here. People didn't like the thought of a man being sexually harassed. So it was really good. It was juicy. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you have any kind of memories or your favorite story making this movie?
Well, I do know when I went to audition for it, the casting, it was Ellen Chenoweth, I believe. And then she introduced me to Barry, but I didn't know it was Barry. You know what? I'm going to tell you something. This is the biggest find I find. People always cast me. Before I got cast as smart women, because in the business, you can't be smart and sexy. You got to be one or the other. Choose door A or B.
Hmm.
So when I was doing theater or television in New York, I was always a prostitute, always a prostitute. I go to Los Angeles and I become a woman with a brain. So, but I'm not a woman with a brain, not really. So when I go to Barry, and I had no idea who he was, but I acted as that I did. And I gave a litany of movies. Oh, I love this movie. He hadn't directed not one of those movies I named.
Oh.
And I thought, I'm really fucked myself. Not
Yeah.
one movie. So I think the best part of that for me was my innocence going into this a whole other world.
Right.
That was like, wow.
Any good bonding moments?
I loved Barry.
Yes. I think we tried to get Barry. I think we couldn't get him.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. But he is easy.
Yeah.
He doesn't like to do ADR. So it was a really great, great experience all the way around. And another thing, which you're reminding me of, there've been 2 films where the director's like, you can't wear makeup.
Oh.
Wear any makeup. One was when I worked with Johnny Depp, which was wrong. I should have had at least a little makeup
Oh.
because he's so pretty. And then the other one was Double Jeopardy with Ashley Judd. And I was
wanted
like,
to ask you about that. Yeah.
not fair, not fair.
Oh my God.
So
Wow.
But the
that's what-
director was saying no makeup?
no makeup. Oh, no makeup. And so it was on
My
both.
God. Okay.
I
Interesting.
begged for like maybe a little lipstick, something. They were like, nope.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's all right.
Okay.
What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You're incredible though in them.
Oh,
And would love to know, what are you working on now?
I'm recurring on The Equalizer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know that.
I play a shrink, another smart woman. But I just did one of my favorite film genres is horror.
Oh, us too.
Yes.
And so I went to Atlanta about 3 months ago to do my first horror film,
Nice.
Nice.
which was fun. It was hard work, but it was fun. So that Equalizer, and don't know yet what's going on. I am writing a novel, which I've been doing for 1,000 years.
Oh.
So there's
Hell
that.
yeah. Is there a role that you've never played that you're dying to play?
I'd love to go back and do theater.
Oh,
Nice.
all right.
And, I did Bookie not too long ago. You know that show?
Mm-hmm.
Chuck Lorre.
Mm.
Yeah.
And so I did that. And it was actually one of the first times I've done comedy. And it was so fantastic that I actually would love to do comedy and theater, either or both.
All right.
Yeah.
Comedy is our genre, so let's do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Comedy's great. It's true. And
It's great.
theater's awesome. There's that really raw connection that you're in front of people
Yeah.
in real time,
Yeah.
And there's no
lights.
multiple takes. You have to have it.
You
Yeah.
fucked up, move on.
That's it.
Yes.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Are you actors, either of you?
Brian, we both act, but we're more like director filmmakers, but Brian does more acting. Yeah.
I could tell from when you were speaking about the connection with the audience, which is
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
In
It's
high
so
school,
fun.
they casted me as Pippin, and I was so funny because I would be like getting out, home like really late and still having to study for finals and shit. So it was kind of funny to but I really appreciated, I couldn't get a microphone until the day before the show, and I had no idea how to project from my diaphragm, and wear foot thongs and all that stuff,
Oh my God. Does your family have a film?
There's a copy of it somewhere.
There should be.
Yes.
There
Yeah.
should be.
Is there anything else that that you would want to talk about that you loved about the movie, making it, or anything that's kind of cool? And
I just loved it. I really did just love it all. It was a real lesson into Hollywood. Not that they were old, but they were so established in Hollywood that it was like, whoa, I walked into the Oz. It was like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
And the trailer. I mean, coming from where I came from, it was like, I only have to film half a page today. What? So
Right.
it was just a really amazing, the experience, all of it was really very special to me.
watch this when you're 15. It was
Yeah.
What are we doing? But it kind of always stayed with us.
There's grit, you know.
So,
There's some
yes.
good grit to it.
Yes,
yeah.
you could like it
Her
feels
breasts,
real.
I remember the legs, the breasts.
Yes, yes.
I was like, what's happening?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. We're like, this
Yeah.
is so raw and great.
Yes. He was suffering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I also at the time, like what you said, I feel like this was a good thing to touch on that wasn't really ever touched on.
It was really touched on before it was touched on by about women. So that was the big like, oh, you're right. But
Yeah.
I guess for that very reason, it made a splash.
Right.
Because it was a man.
Oh, El Roma.
Dude, what a cool person.
Yeah. I really want to do a comedy with her.
Yeah, she's incredible.
Can she be
Really
in the
just-
feature that we're going to do?
Kind of, I would love to work with her. You dream, you know, meeting these characters like you were saying earlier, the tough ass five. It's kind of like this dark, like it's kind of a dream come true to speak with people like Roma.
Absolutely.
You know, that's the best part of doing this show, and also really learning about what they were doing on the set of this amazing flick. You know.
Yeah. And I also love that, I think she had a really good kind of appreciation. Like this was like one of her big, you know, you heard her talking about Hollywood. Like she was like scraping by before this. So to land a role like this was big for her. And also like, you know, it just shows the testament of her acting and the way she kept hustling to get there. And I think, you know, not everybody can do that. And then to land a movie, you know, right across Demi Moore and Michael Douglas, and just like, you know, the cast in this is so good. So
Always check her out when she's on the screen. She really brings something special to these projects. And
one thing that I was going to say, I think is kind of cool. Donald Sutherland, he's such a Garvin, right? His name is Garvin, Mr. Garvin. He's such a Garvin type.
hey, I love the Garvin.
Yeah. Well, listen, thank you. This has been such a pleasure. Check out our, we have a web series, we have films, we have short film content at Bobo Touch online. Give us a follow and spread the word about our homegrown, beautiful podcast. See you next time.
We love you guys.
Love you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening. Bye.
Appreciate you.
I'm going to go meet Brian right now for some pizza.